So we are having a rough time with the thunderstorm on this end. It keeps knocking out our internet connection. Um, but we're just going to go ahead and press through for those of you who may be online. And if not, um, we're going to press through anyway. All right. Because it's hard for me to tell who's where. And I'm guessing at this point, you're probably wondering what's going on this end. That's what's happening. Unfortunately, um, seems like once the storm passes through, another one comes, and so it causes challenges. Anyway, that being said, let's go ahead and get started. We were talking about Isaiah 55 verses 1 through 6, and the fact that God has issued an invitation in verse 1 to anyone who thirsts. And he tells us that we don't have to have any money. And he also tells us that whoever drinks of the water that he gives will never be thirsty again. But he's not talking about a physical thirst as much as he's talking about a spiritual thirst. And of course, we know that that story um, can be found in the Gospel of John, chapter 4, where he meets the woman at the well. Then he goes on to tell us that we should listen carefully. And why does he say listen carefully? Because that is where the benefit is in listening. The benefit is in the listening. And how or why do I say that? Well, let me read that for you. It says, listen, listen to me and eat what is good. You will delight in the richest of fare. Give ear and come to me. So again, we're still listening. Give ear and come to me. Listen that you may live. So living is tied to us listening, eating what is good, and delighting in what God has for us to consume, which is His Word. And then it says, give ear and come to me. So again, He's saying, listen and come that you may live. And so man does not live by bread alone, right? But by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. And so, because we know that that is the case, that seems to be where this scripture in Isaiah is pointing to. Because we want to be able to live. It's important if we want to live that we drink water because our bodies are made up of 60% plus water. And if we want to live, then our doctors are always telling us that we have to have a balanced diet and that we're supposed to eat those things that are healthy and good for us. And so there's no difference here in the spiritual realm where God is telling us the same thing. He's saying you need to come if you're thirsty because they warn us about getting dehydrated. And they warn us about getting dehydrated because sometimes when you get dehydrated, you can do more damage on the inside of your body. And it also potentially make you lightheaded and you get sick. So it says, here's an invitation. If anyone thirsts, let him come and drink. And so I believe that that analogy works really well from a physical perspective because it also fits when we look at the spiritual perspective of things. All right. And so he tells us to eat what is good. It sounds like we're at the doctor's office, but you know, we're the Lord is sharing with us what we ought to be eating at this point. And then he says, hold on for a moment. Let me see if I can get this to come up properly. All right. So then he tells us to eat what is good. And then he says, and you will delight in the richest of fare. And so there is a delight that comes along with listening to what the Lord has to say and doing what he says to do. Because all through this particular passage of scripture, he continues to say, Come. He says, Come, all you who are thirsty, come to the waters, come buy and eat, come buy wine and milk. Then he says, Give ear and come